What's up, guys? I'm here to talk to you about Battlestar Deadlock the game and what I thought about it. And if I'm going to be completely honest with you, it is awesome. But I don't want to be misleading here. There are some flaws, major flaws with this game. But if you're a lover of Battlestar Galactica or strategy, I really do think you'll enjoy it. I'm going to give a brief breakdown of what I really enjoyed about this game and what it really needs to fix so that it can pole vault itself from being a niche game into a game anyone could enjoy. So if I had to take a clip from a movie to really define what I think the developers were probably thinking when they put it together, I would have to say that it was...
Before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it.
Yeah, that sums it up. Let's just get into it. So the game is supposed to occur during the First Cylon War. Ironically, there isn't a ton of canon on the war itself. It's something that seems to be largely unexplored by the creators of Battlestar Galactica. So there's a lot of depth that this game can add to the lore. Not that they do, but we'll get into that later. You start out with a brief explanation of what's occurred, and then you get into the meat of it. You're brought to the command center where you will guide the forces of the colonial fleet. At first, it seems pretty impressive. You have a map, you can walk around, and it looks and feels very Battlestar Galactica. There are even displays and consoles you can interact with. And for those who don't want immersion, you can all just access these from HUD controls, so it's as interactive as you want it to be. But I guess here's where we begin to see the flaws, and it's what slowly starts to pile up to hurt the game. First, while you're given the appearance of walking, you're honestly just floating, including being able to float over the table. There's a noticeable lack of people in the room you're in, and you don't see any ships outside of the viewports, and yet you're at a facility that makes ships all day, every day. I know this is small, but it would have been nice for them to have included this, and it only begins to stack and pile up when you really notice that there are these just small auxiliary things missing. Also, when it comes to requisition of ships, building of ships, recruitment of officers, and everything tertiary to the battle, just the getting things ready through the system and game itself, it's pretty standard. And there are other things that don't feel well done either, like the profile pictures of the officers. All of this really could have used some work. But okay, these are little things, they're nitpicks, they add to the game, but they aren't the game. So let's talk about the voice acting and the plot. There's been a lot of criticism about the voice acting, but it's actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it, unlike others who have reviewed the game. The story, though, it starts out strong, but ultimately doesn't make sense in some parts and comes off very weak towards the ending. As I said, there are things that don't make sense, both for the military, the story, and the mythos of Battlestar Galactica. I'm not saying it's absolutely horrific, because I'm doing a series on it, and I wouldn't do a series if I didn't think I couldn't work with it, but I will say that I find it weak and contradictory at times. This goes back to the stacking up. All of these things feel tacked on. Yes, it does feel like Battlestar Galactica, but rough around the edges. This is the difference between a game that will do well in a niche and a game that could do extremely well in the mainstream. So pictures of the officers, the map, the way the turn-based system of it goes, the real-time strategy, all standard fare. But what about the meat, the combat? What about what it's really meant here for? Well, that, as I said, is just freaking awesome. The combat in this is what really makes it fun and really makes it feel like Battlestar Galactica. Like some games you play on game boards, you give commands to your ships and give the actions to your ships before the round begins. Then, when you're ready, the action occurs simultaneously on both sides. This means that anything can happen. One wrong turn and your ships are smashing into each other, or even into the enemy ships. You can fire from 6 arcs depending on the type of ship you have, and you can move in those arcs too. Up, down, left, right. Honestly, I've spent over 40 hours on this game, and it's because of this piece right here, because of the combat. You have different types of armor you have to deal with, you have starfighters that you can use, there are different kinds of weapons. Even when it comes to starfighters, you can have things from sweepers to raptors just to out and out vibrate snipers which just do all of the killing. It's really fun putting these strategies together and using them. Honestly, this game wouldn't be worth anything if it wasn't for this piece. You can tell they put a lot of thought into this, and it is so fun. As I said, everything else is on par. I'll be doing more lore on the first Cylon War, which you can find right here. Just click in the top right-hand corner. I'll be doing more on the lore, both on this game and in Battlestar Galactica overall, so definitely take a look at that. I think it'll be worth your while.